10 grossly underloved cerebral sci-fi movies that you must watch. Our busy and monotonous lives deserve a break from reality once in a while. There are a few better ways to engage in escapism than to watch a mind-numbing cerebral sci-fi movie. These are not your regular action-packed flicks with advanced tech. They deal with plots capable of messing up your mind, stemming doubts in your head about what is actually real. The stories usually involve concepts of artificial intelligence and alternate worlds, raising questions about whether the world we live in is a mere simulation. If you have a taste for the unthinkable, this video will be your treasure hunt as we dive deep into some of the most underrated cerebral sci-fi movies ever made.
Before we go into our list, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click from you, but it means a lot to us. Thank you. Let's begin.
Primer, 2004. Aaron, Abe, and a couple of their friends are working on a project, an error-checking device. This technology ends up accidentally turning into a medium for time travel, leading Abe and Aaron to develop different views on what to do with it. How will they manage their philosophical differences and logistical roadblocks along the way? Let us begin by telling you that this film was made with a budget of $7,000. Yes, you heard us right. With such a paltry amount, the director Shane Carruth put together one of the most intriguing time travel movies that you will ever come across. The plot is not the simplest to follow, and you have to concentrate hard while watching this one. Carruth is also a part of the acting cast, and he does a fairly impressive job alongside the likes of David Sullivan. The first half of Primer is somewhat linear, but the second half becomes weirder, and the events in it will leave you putting pieces of a puzzle together. There is a sharp attention to detail that is heartening to see, and the concept of certain inventions impacting the ability to function is thought-provoking. There are occasional production issues such as muffled audio and a few continuity problems, but you can hardly point a finger at people hanging by $7,000 to make an entire movie. Overall, this entertaining and intellectually enriching film is beautifully flawed and certainly worth your time. Stalker, 1979. There is a small region inside an unnamed country that is cordoned off by the government. This area is called the Zone, and it contains aliens and other unknown dangers that might be a threat to anyone. However, it's also believed that there is a room where wishes are granted to the visitors, and this often lures people to trespass into the zone. The movie follows the journey of one such group of intruders comprising of a writer and a scientist. The former wants to pen down his experience in the zone, while the latter wants to research the region for scientific purposes. They are guided by the Stalker, a figure for whom the region means everything. The travelers are soon about to realize that they are going to need more than curiosity and determination to succeed. This movie by the legendary Andrei Tarkovsky is like a journey into your darkest fears. With a mysterious plot, he leads us on an arduous odyssey undertaken by the protagonists. The filming style bears the stamp of Tarkovsky's excellence, and we love the moments where he almost reduces the characters to silence and lets their expressions do the talking. The continuous shots with very few cuts add to the atmosphere. There are people who have dubbed Stalker, but they have clearly missed the poetic and philosophical side of it. All the characters involved have something unique about them, and it's exciting to be a part of their quest. There are too many metaphors and ironies to understand along the way, and it requires a patient movie buff to appreciate this movie. Another Earth, 2011. Rhoda Williams is an ambitious young woman celebrating her acceptance letter from MIT. On the same day, the existence of a planet similar to Earth is discovered. While looking at Earth 2 in her car, Rhoda crashes into John Burroughs' family, killing his pregnant wife and son. After her release from prison, she starts working as a janitor in high school where she happens upon John. She interacts with him but fails to tell him about her role in his devastating personal life. In fact, they fall in love, and while romance is conspiring, new facts about the second Earth come to notice that demand attention. Another Earth presents a simple and delicate story that transforms into a slow but beautiful movie. It might seem confusing at first, but once you get the hang of things, it promises to be a wonderful work of art. The very concept that there is another world out there that is an exact mirror replica of our home planet is fascinating to comprehend. Mike Cahill was perfect in the director's seat, but credit is also due to Britt Marling, who plays a crucial role in the film and also helped Mike with the script. This unassuming movie will pose some interesting questions for you, and any sci-fi fan will love the brain teasers on offer. In a nutshell, Another Earth is not everyone's cup of tea, but if you don't mind a slow burner storyline, you are in for a rewarding experience. Melancholia, 2011. Two sisters, Justine and Claire, have a strained relationship, and that is further challenged when the planet is faced with impending doom. Justine is getting married at a lavish wedding organized by John, her brother-in-law. She isn't too happy about her life or the controlling nature of John and Claire. Meanwhile, a rogue planet, Melancholia, is heading towards Earth and might result in a catastrophic collision. John feels that an impact won't happen. Justine, in her depressive state, is almost happy about the imminent destruction, and her sister Claire is dealing with terrible anxiety. What does fate have in store for them? Is the movie more about depression and psychological issues than science fiction? We don't know, but we can tell you that Melancholia is one of the most vivid depictions of helplessness. For those who have dealt with bouts of depression at some point in their lives, this film will get to you. It shows the emptiness and futility of everyday rituals, the pointlessness of ego and status, the serious inability among people to understand the pain in others. It's directed by Lars von Trier, who doesn't make any pretension of presenting this as a quick-fire entertainer. Melancholia is also helped by a brilliant cast, consisting of talented actors like Kirsten Dunst, Alexander Skarsgård, Kiefer Sutherland, and Charlotte Gainsbourg. Keep this on your watch list for those soul-searching nights where you want to let your thoughts wander. The Fountain, 2006. This movie is linked by three stories from the past, present, and future, the common theme being the protagonist and all the stories are seeking eternity in some form. At the center of the plot is the mythical Tree of Life that grants immortality to anyone who drinks from its sap. A 16th century Spanish conquistador sets out in search of the tree to save his queen. A present-day surgeon is struggling with mortality as he plans to save his dying wife. In the future, a character is looking for the mythical tree, which might be dying itself. The Fountain is simply fantastic in every sense of the term. It takes a philosophical stand on the cycle of life and comes across as a beautiful testament to love and life. The tight script ensures that the non-linear presentation is perfected by the director. The acting performances are mesmerizing, and the likes of Hugh Jackman and Rachel Weisz are sure to win you over. The makers give a lot of attention to the scene compositions, and that has resulted in a visual delight for viewers. The director, Darren Aronofsky, used microphotography of chemical reactions on petri dishes instead of CGI, which he felt would ruin the timelessness of the story. The plot is interesting and emotional and has a touching love story at the center of it. The musical score is worth mentioning and was even nominated at the Golden Globe Awards. As long as you are in for an intellectually stimulating movie that makes you think hard, The Fountain will be a unique film experience. Dark City, 1998. John Murdoch wakes up in a bathtub in a strange hotel and has no memory of how he got there. However, there is a body of a woman around, and he is suspected of being a serial killer. Soon he realizes that the town is controlled by some alien entity called the Strangers, and they have the ability to take over inhabitants. John somehow has the same uncontrolled powers as the Strangers, and he must do something about this before they mind control him as well. This is one unconventional dark sci-fi film that you will not get out of your mind for years to come. The premise is exciting, where we see a man with no past in a world where humanity doesn't seem to have a future. The visual effects are stunning and the climatic fight scene is sure to take your breath away. Some incredible performances from Rufus Sewell and Kiefer Sutherland makes Dark City realistic through the fictional storytelling. And Jennifer Connelly is hard to miss in her alluring avatar. Trevor Jones has done a commendable job with the musical score, making it ideally dark and deep to suit the content. The strangers are creepy, and every time you see one of them in their long black coats, you get the chills. Their costumes and presentation have been perfected to enhance the neo-Gothic ambiance. Dark City is criminally underrated, and it would be terrible to skip this jaw-dropping sci-fi thriller.
Is this real?
The 13th Floor, 1999. In a futuristic world, a computer scientist named Hannon Fuller is working with a virtual reality simulation of 1937. He figures out someone is stalking him and leaves a letter for his partner Douglas Hall in the computer-generated parallel world. When Fuller is killed, all blame falls on Douglas, who is suspected of murdering his senior colleague. The trouble with Douglas is that he cannot seem to remember what he was up to the night Fuller died. His findings will be completely unexpected and bring about a strange dilemma. Virtual reality has been a concept in sci-fi flicks, fueling some of the most fascinating works in this genre. The 13th Floor is one of the forgotten efforts that delivered a cyber-techno thriller for which the world wasn't ready yet. There are some crucial philosophical queries around the technology that are masked under an entertaining narrative. The cinematography deserves applause for its depiction of Los Angeles in 1937, and the clever use of the tone found in color pictures of the era makes things very realistic. There are some comparisons with The Matrix, which released a month earlier, but the two films are no more similar than Star Wars and Star Trek. In the absence of a star-studded lineup, the cast consisting of Craig Bierko and Gretchen Mol have done good work in their roles. Watch out for the unexpected twist towards the end that will change your perceptions entirely. Pi, 1998. Pi telling the story of a genius mathematician who has built a supercomputer at his place. His theory is that everything can be understood in terms of numbers, and premised on his faith in numerical patterns, wants to devise something that will predict the stock market. A Wall Street company is after him because they want to use his invention for their benefit, and a Hasidic Torah scholar pursues him because he believes the numbers to be sent by God. His paranoia and headaches worsen by the day, and time is running out for him before he can set things in order. This stylish, intelligent, and cohesive plot makes up for any other shortcomings. It's helped by flawless direction and acting that isn't bogged down. Helmed by Darren Aronofsky in his feature debut, you can almost call this a predecessor to Requiem for a Dream. Do not be disturbed by the math content, because the film is more about psychological aspects than arithmetic jargon. The protagonist seemed to be getting closer to finding the answers as the movie progresses, but with that comes the loss of his sanity. Pi was made on a tight budget of $60,000, and to save some extra bucks, they secured no formal permission for filming any part. So for the scenes in the subway or in public spaces, a crew member had to keep a watch for the police, while others were busy shooting. Clearly the efforts paid off, because we haven't seen an independent film so great in a long time. Dead Man's Letters, 1986. This movie assembles our worst fear into a quintessential post-apocalyptic fable that will captivate you. It shows a world on the brink of total destruction following the horrors of a nuclear holocaust. The few survivors look to a better future from the wet cellars they have been confined to from the nuclear winters above them. The current generation tries to start all over again towards a new life, and a scientist tries to contact his missing son through letters. However, it becomes increasingly difficult to hold on to hope when future seems improbable for survival. This Russian film is one of the most pessimistic things that you can come across, but even in its depressive narrative, it impresses with its realistic and harrowing ambiance. The premise, where we see the survivors living underground and watching each other decay mentally and physically, is simply nightmarish. Besides the lugubrious atmosphere, the film benefits from the skilled cast and a talented director, who previously assisted Tarkovsky. There is a smart use of dull colors to reinforce the feeling of the world's dying breath. There is a small glimmer of hope towards the end, but it is generally just a massive tragedy unfolding before your eyes. If you can handle the emotional damage Dead Man's Letters might cause, try it out for a shocking taste of post-apocalyptic hopelessness. Maybe world leaders should get together and watch this to realize the consequences of nuclear warfare. Moebius, 1996. In the closed rail network of the Buenos Aires subway system, a passenger convoy simply vanishes under mysterious circumstances. A young topologist tries to find the reasons behind the missing train, but his possible explanation is too bizarre for anyone to believe him. He goes to the length of risking his life to prove that his thesis is actually true. Is there another dimension lurking around the subway network unknown to all? This Argentinian sci-fi film is a great example of the amazing things that can be accomplished even on a tight budget. It has a very innovative and original plot, and it's often hard to believe that the movie was made by a group of students. It's a well-knit mystery thriller that explores another dimension in an oppressive atmosphere. The gothic surroundings combined with some fascinating events point to the ultimate fact: reality is not necessarily what you perceive. There are some creepy moments, and the ancient wailing boy in the lift will send shivers down your spine. The only loophole that bothered us was the lack of plausible science in the concept, but while enjoying fiction, you can hardly complain. This is one of the most unconventional movies on our list, and if you are up for the challenge, you might just give it a watch. If you guys enjoyed this video, give us a like, subscribe, and press that bell icon that will help you get notifications. We upload an awesome video every day. Have an amazing day ahead and stay safe.